Accuracy was overrated. But the gun that can't hit the broadside of a barn isn't that useful either. The G3. Lawful neutral. The four horsemen of the classic rifle. So, what's unusual about G3? Why isn't it as popular as MP5? And what's the deal with the slap? World War II changed everything. The war was never won by marksmanship but by sheer volume of fire. The STG-44 is the grandfather of all assault rifles. The intermediate cartridge was proven to be better than full-power cartridges. The first weapon to do that is Soviet AK-47, designed by Mikhail Kalashnikov. The introduction of AK forced the free world to seek a new rifle. Originally the 280 British was the main consideration for NATO standard rifle cartridges. Yet again, America dug the hill. 30 caliber the minimum man stopper. As all feasible ways failed, the assault rifle dream was shattered. Heckler & Koch, top-tier German weapon manufacturers alongside Mauser. Influenced by STG-44, the new rifle was given a unique, roller-delayed blowback system, something which would define its existence. Rifle number 3. The new rifle was ahead of its time. Often, the G3 was compared to its Belgium counterpart, the FN FAL. Technically they are the same thing. But the G3 was more modern, more tactical, and easier to modernize. Same as the FAL, G3 was licensed to various countries. The Danish GVM-75, Burmese BA-63 and 64, and Norwegian AG-3. Same as other battle rifles, the G3 was soon to become a marksman weapon. For example, the MSG-90 was a semi-automatic variant of G3, with a longer barrel and lower capacity magazine to be easier to mount. Eventually the G3 was replaced by the more modern G36, both having more controllable recoil and more reliable action. In games, the G3 was often a semi-automatic weapon. Well, there are few exceptions of the full auto variant. For example, Counter-Strike's G3SG-1 was depicted as an auto sniper. There are some games that instead of using the gun yourself, the gun will fight for you. Sound familiar? Well, it's Girl Frontline. It lets players learn a thing or two about firearms while in a lovable art style. One distinctive feature of most HK guns is their method of loading. Instead of a direct pull back to the rechamber, it was pulled back before releasing the magazine, and the handle was slapped when the magazine was loaded. Well, it wasn't only featured in HK's guns, but it was the brand that made it well known. Technically the G3 should be as popular as the MP5. But the MP5 looks more tactical and more magnificent than a semi-automatic rifle that looks like an enlarged variant of it. In some movies, it was featured as a sniper rifle. For example, in the 2012 film, Fire with Fire, the G3 was welded by Sniper Robert. It isn't good for filmography compared to MP5 and other guns, but it works nonetheless. Some animations were associated with firearms, even though knives and magic were the majority. It's good to see firearms being featured in the art styles that are hard to fit into. It wasn't excellent on anything in particular. It's just a rifle. That aged well. So, the G3 isn't quite as elegant as a FAL or as iconic as MP5, but it's still an excellent and dependable weapon and defines the way of the later generation of German firearms. But most importantly, it still can hit the broadside of the barn nonetheless. The G3 Classic Rifle. Unique Reload. The Tacti Cool.